Keith, thank you so much for doing this. How are you?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Fantastic. And obviously that's the big news in your household for sure. What was the reaction when you found out Cayden was a Maple Leaf?
Well, excitement first of all. He was traded to Carolina during the off season and had an opportunity to go to a couple different places. He didn't have full control, but he had a little control as to where he ended up, and he chose Carolina. And so he was focused on that opportunity, always knowing there was a possibility with them having two goaltenders that he could go on waivers. I think he felt that they may have wrote it out a little bit longer, so he's a little bit surprised. So yesterday was was a processing day, but ultimately he's super excited about the opportunity because that's what any player wants, right? They just want the opportunity to prove themselves, and he'll not only get to try and prove himself, but you get to do it in front of family and friends too.
Preems, thanks for coming on. I got to say hi to your brother for me. My first tenure in the NHL was with Wayne, and he had the unfortunate luck of playing on my line while I was cracking into the league. So I'm sure you can say hi to me and bring back some terrible memories for him. But thanks for joining us. I was curious. You're not the first father-son, duo to have, a player of your caliber have a son coming into the NHL. But oftentimes it's not a goaltender for, a player of yours. What's that like, having all the experience that you have and having your son come along, but it's at that position, which is so much different than what you played?
Yeah, not good and not fun. I solely place that responsibility on his mother. She may contest it a little bit, but right from an early age, he just was drawn to play goal. And interestingly enough, when I caved and decided to let him put the pads on, right from day one he was able to stop a puck. It was really amazing. So I wasn't going to be able to change or influence that decision. But it's not fun from the perspective that, like you said, like I have two other boys who both played, and one also played 5 years of collegiate hockey at Omaha and Notre Dame, and you can watch a player, a forward, a defenseman, and make adjustments or make suggestions or analyze their performance. But for goaltending, it's just a completely different position. And then on top of that, he doesn't want my advice. so there's that also. But yeah, it's not fun being a goalie parent.
I'd imagine that. I mean, you're a local guy. You just talked about Cayden being able to play in front of family and friends here. What was your reaction? Again, like, it's the Maple Leafs. I'm sure were you a fan of Leafs growing up?
Yeah, I was a huge fan of the Leafs. I was, growing up in Whitby. I was, Daryl Sittler and Mike Palmateer. Were probably my two favorite players growing up. So I was a huge Leafs fan. Less of a Leafs fan, obviously, during the course of my career. Kind of recaptured that when Wayne played for the Leafs at the end of his career. My wife and I, we stayed in New Jersey outside of Philadelphia when I finished playing. So we still reside in New Jersey, but all of my family is still in Ontario. And we're huge Leafs fans, huge Jays fans, huge Toronto fans. So excited for that.
Yeah, and is Cayden excited? Obviously, being part of the Montreal Canadiens organization, that's a big market. But have you given him any advice on what it's like? Playing in these huge markets, it's a little different than going and hiding in one of the small ones in the States.
Yeah, and I guess to his benefit is he's had the opportunity to be, under the microscope in Montreal for the last 6 years, and it wouldn't take anyone long to dig in to see, the reception over the last couple of years for him there. And he's handled it like a true professional. So I don't have any qualms or concerns that he'll handle this any differently. I did forewarn him that, and I don't say much to him, but protect yourself, insulate yourself a little bit, when it comes to social media and stuff like that. Whether he heeds that advice or not, I'm not sure, but I wanted to make sure that I suggested it. But he's, like I said, playing in Montreal is almost as big an animal as playing in Toronto. So it's not like he's coming out of one of the southern states and coming to Toronto. He's been through this experiment before, and I expect him to handle it as professionally as he normally does.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, to handle both media types in Montreal, the French and the English, I mean, he's bred for a place like Toronto at this point in time. But I want to get in your career a bit. You played with Craig Berube, who's now the head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. So what do you remember about that experience playing with Chief?
Yeah, so when I first heard the news yesterday, there was two things that actually really excited me about this opportunity. One was Brad Treleving. I worked with Brad when he was with Arizona. I was doing some stuff in the East Coast. Not a close relationship, but spent a bit of time with him, and I truly liked him. I thought he was a good human. So I'm excited for that because I think they'll be honest and transparent. And then playing with Chief, I'm super excited for him to get that opportunity because he was a great teammate, and I know that players speak so highly of him. And I just think that his energy will be great, and he'll be open, honest, and forthright with Cayden, and that's, you can't ask for anything more than that, right?
Yeah, and Wayne, now that kind of maybe unexpectedly you've been thrust into the Maple Leaf circle here, have you analyzed what's going on, the changes they've made, and what do you think of the team so far, and looking forward to this season here?
Yeah, I have. I don't get too involved in player personnel with NHL franchises anymore, but I certainly keep my finger on the pulse of the Leafs a little bit, and I actually like the transformation. I think if they're gonna play a north-south game, you're bringing in more prototypical style players for that. I think the fans are really going to like a player like Joshua. I've seen him in the American League before he went to Vancouver, and he was a hard player to play against. And that's when you're a former player, you're a current player. Those are the words you hate to hear. The guy's hard to play against because they create challenges and hard to defend. And he's a big body, and he's strong in the corners, along the walls, in front of the net. Plays with some grit. But I thought they did that with some of their transformation, and then defensively, I look at their defensive core, and I like the blend. So I'm excited to watch this team starting tomorrow night.
We are as well. The Montreal Canadiens, of course, in town for the season opener on Wednesday. I wanted to ask you as well, being a former captain, just your general thoughts on Auston Matthews and the way he's evolved and grown over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I have a 97 birth year son who played a little bit against Auston growing up, and he always saw that ability, that skill, that shot, the finish. So from a talent perspective, he knew he was going to accomplish the things that he did, and then growing into that leadership role, those things take time. You're not completely born with that ability. Some guys just have some of those intangibles, and other guys have to work at their craft and learning how to become a good leader. And he's done that, and some of that is just from past experience, and some of that past experience being failure, and those tribulations that come with that. So he's handling that market and that city and that team as well as can be expected, and not only worrying about the group but worrying about his own game, because those are the challenges that leaders face as well. He's an exciting player to watch, and then he's also doing a great job of leading that group.
Well, Preems, we really appreciate you having you on here today. I see that T-shirt you're wearing. I feel like there's more than a couple of reasons for you to get on an airplane here and get back home. No?
Yeah, exactly. So we were actually we have a place still in Northern Ontario. We were home for September and got the opportunity to get down to Rogers Centre to watch the game. They didn't win, and I think my son and I, we were 0-3 watching live games this year because we caught them back in the spring. So yeah, so we talked about driving up to Yankee Stadium tonight for the game, and we decided we'd hold off. We'll watch from the couch, but we're super excited about the way they're playing it all summer. It's just been really fun. It's been a really fun team to watch, and I hope they can continue, and we wish them luck.
I just hope the Leafs grab the momentum as well that the Blue Jays have built here. Just last one before we let you go. Somebody in the chat actually asked, and I think it's a really good question. I like to ask guys who are from this area who never actually played for the Leafs. Was there ever a moment in time in your NHL career where you almost became a Maple Leaf or thought about being a Leaf?
That is a great question because there's a great story. In 2004, we playoff run. We eliminated a very, very, very good Leafs team in the conference semifinals in six games. We went on to lose to the Tampa Bay Lightning in 7 games, who went on to eventually win the Stanley Cup. And that was going into the lockout year. I had a young family, just finished up a 5-year deal, and we weren't really. I think I'd only had like 7 regular season goals, and then I scored 9 in the playoffs. And we weren't really sure how to value, my worth at the time. And so I went in and I sat with Bobby Clark and I did the deal myself, basically. Although I had an agent, and I agreed to terms. And they were going to do an announcement. I left and I had a dentist appointment literally around the corner. I was going to see the dentist. As I left the practice facility and I was driving to the dentist's office, my phone rings with the Toronto number. I pick it up as John Ferguson Jr. And this is before July 1. But he was calling this just to confirm that this, Keith, I just want to confirm that this is your cell number, in case we have interest on July 1st. And I said, thanks, John. I appreciate the phone call, but I just re-signed in Philadelphia. And so there was a real opportunity, and I didn't regret my decision because Philadelphia became my identity. But there was always a part of me that thought, wow, that would have been really, really awesome and really cool to play for the Leafs. And then I got that little bit of experience with my brother and now my son. So that's really cool to see. I know my mom was emotional yesterday when my other son called her to tell her. She was super excited for the opportunity for Cayden to play in Toronto.
Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long-form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.